Hi, my name is Richard Campfield with Ultrabond, and today we're going to talk about how to train and practice yourself. And the first piece of equipment you want to get is a windshield stand and a windshield. And a good windshield to practice on is the 2004 Honda Civic. It is not too curvy and it makes nice cracks on the edge, and we're going to drill and make breaks in it. And before we get started on breaking this windshield and then repairing it, it's important to first know a little bit about the windshield. The windshield is a safety device, and the purpose of the windshield has a number of safety features to it. Number one, it's called safety glass because it's 2 layers of glass and it's got a lamination in the middle called polyvinyl butyl. This is a pliable plastic that acts as a safety net when a person hits the windshield. The glass, we have 2 layers of glass, the inner light and the outer light. The inner light is the inside layer and the outer light is the outside layer. That glass is tapered to about 1,000 psi, tempered to about 1,000 psi so that it's not so hard that if a head hits it, it fractures the skull or breaks the neck. So it's tempered to that hardness so that it breaks easily when a head hits it, and then the PVB middle layer takes over and acts as a safety net, keeping the person in the vehicle. The windshield is also part of the crash pulse that tells the airbag when to go off, about 20% of it. And it is also the backboard for the passenger side airbag. So it is an important safety feature. One reason and one of the safety problems with replacing your windshield is that it messes up the crash pulse, and if it's not in right, it'll pop out or blow out when the passenger side airbag goes off. And also, it is part of the roof support. It is anywhere from 20 to 30% of your roof support in a sedan and 40 to 70% in SUVs and pickup trucks. So one of the big safety features about windshield repair is saving the original factory windshield and the original factory seal to prevent any of those safety features from being altered. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do today, and the first thing we train people to do, is how to drill. Drilling is the one motor skill required of a windshield repair technician that will make the difference between you are a real pro or an amateur. The drill is used on 50% of brakes. If you do direct marketing, meaning that you're going to be directly marketing consumers like at a car wash or a quick lube, or you're in a parking lot, or you're doing fleets or car dealers, you're going to find you will be hitting all types of brakes. And of the types of brakes, 50% at least require drilling to make access for the resin to go in. Sometimes it may or may not require drilling, but to drill it means you're going to turn a repair into 60 seconds versus trying to wait 10 or 15 minutes for the resin to fully and completely fill the brake. So drilling is a skill which will make your job easier and will always bail you out. If, for example, you are repairing a brake and there's a section of it that just won't fill no matter what happens, you go ahead and cure it, then you go back and drill that area, tap a bullseye, which we're going to do now, and again, the drill saves the job. If you are fixing a brake and let's say it cracks on you, it jumps out a few inches, well, you go ahead and cure, and then you go to the tip of it, you drill, tap the bullseye, and then backfill it. Again, the drill, it will save you whenever anything goes wrong. So it's a good skill. First thing we do for training is to how to drill. So you're going to take your drill, put your drill bit in, put it on high, and you want to drill about halfway through the outer light. Hold it like a pencil, rest your palm on the glass. I take my other hand and steady it. Done about halfway through. Now I take my needle and my tapper, and that is what we call tapping a bullseye. That is a mini bullseye. And you need to do that about 10 to 20 times on this practice windshield. Let me do it one more time. Hold it like a pencil. Rest your palm on the glass. Steady it with your other hand. Go halfway through the outer light. Place your needle in the hole and tap. The depth of your hole will determine how big of a bullseye you get. If you go too deep, you will get a small bullseye. If you go just right, about halfway through, you will get a nice sized bullseye to work with. And what this does is glass breaks on the opposite side of impact. So what you're doing is you are causing a cone-shaped hole on the back side of the outer light against the polyvinyl butyl. And that is a cone-shaped hole, so that will feed into the brakes and into all the little cracks and crevices of the brake. And a stone brake that you're going to drill, be conscious that the chip now might have already taken you a quarter of the way through. So you're not going to drill as long as we do when you're practicing on a clean piece of glass with no chips on it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a brake. And a brake in a windshield, a star brake, there's the star brake, there's the combination brake, there's the bullseye, there's the radiating crack, and there's the partial bullseye. Those type of brakes are defined in your manual. There's diagrams in the manual, and it will tell you which one of those brakes you need to drill, or usually require drilling. Glass brakes on the opposite side of impact. So when a stone hits a windshield, moving vehicle, it causes a little chip on the outside of it, and then the brake is actually on the back side of the outer light against the PVB. Okay. One of the reasons that a chip in a windshield will stay there for months or years is because there is no negative stress on a stone brake. They will crack from thermal stress, meaning severe cold or severe hot. And what's holding that star brake together is actually the glass's own cohesive strength and then the lamination stress. The lamination stress from the PVB being glued to the layers of glass cause an inward stress. So everything is being held together, and that's why a star brake can sit on a windshield for months or even years. An ungaraged vehicle won't get the thermal stress of an ungaraged vehicle, and it can sit there for years. So when we make this brake here, it's actually going to be a brake that goes on the back side of the outer light against the PVB. And the way we make brakes is, again, we're going to take our drill and just make a little pilot hole. Just for a second, and then we're going to take this center punch that's in your kit, and this has a spring in it, and you want to back it off the spring. It'll make a more severe break. The tighter it is, the more severe of the break it's going to make. So you want to back it off after you make your little pilot hole. And there you have a combination brake. This is called a combination brake. A combination brake is a bullseye, and the bullseye is the circle. Whenever you have a brake that has a circle under the impact point, it does not require drilling. You've already got a big bullseye. And you can see these cracks that are going out from here. The star, that's why they call it a combination brake. It's a bullseye with a star. These legs that you see here are called extended legs. And you have to completely fill this brake. So what we want to do is take our probe and clean any loose glass out of this impact point. And now we want to prepare our tool. To prepare your tool, you have your injector, which you have put in your piston O-rings on. And then this is the cylinder. You want to lubricate the piston O-rings with 1 drop of resin, so it'll slide and seal, and then place it into your cylinder. Okay, then you want to take your set screw and lock it, get it in between these grooves here, and tighten it. Tighten it by hand. And then there you have it. Get the set screw in. Then you want to place your O-ring, your cylinder O-ring, into the seat. Okay, and then to fill up your tool, you take your resin bottle, you stick it in the hole, and squeeze it. You can fill these up and do 10 repairs without refilling. Once you've got some resin in there, you want to twist your piston and bring the resin up to the O-ring so it doesn't spill when you turn it upside down. Now you want to place your injector into the holding structure. Okay, you want to bring it up to around there. Then the next step is to lubricate your suction cups. We use Vaseline. A little Vaseline on your suction cups, and now we're going to mount it over the brake. When you mount these, you put one suction cup down first and get it flat. Then you put your other suction cup down. Then you take your leveling bolt and you want to tilt it forward. You want this bar to be tilting forward. And then you want to lower your injector by turning the cylinder. This is the cylinder. And you want to get this bar level with the glass. Now earlier when I was saying about why the stone brake doesn't crack is because it has this inner stress, the glass's own cohesive strength and the inward stress from the lamination. When you lower this tool down, the pressure on the cylinder flexes open the cracks and the brake. That is why it's so easy to fill brakes with the Crackmaster tool. Your pressure comes from this. The more you turn these two things, it puts opposite force on the suction cups, and the more downward pressure you will have on the resin. Okay, so now this pressure has flexed open the brake. So first thing we do is we pull a vacuum, pull it up to the top until it stops. That's all you need, and then put it on pressure until you see your O-ring slightly rise, and then you'll see the resin start to fill the brake. Now this type of a brake would be a severe one that you would get in a windshield on a customer's car. And what you want to do when you're checking brakes is you want to look at the profile of the cracks. Cracks have what's called a head-on angle and a profile. If you read the United States Windshield Repair Guidelines, you will see in the descriptions and the terminology head-on angle versus the profile. The profile is what you look at when you're doing a repair because you can see the resin go in. The head-on angle you can always see, so you cannot tell if the resin is going in if you're looking at the head-on angle. A lot of times a star leg can turn like this, so you have to move your head to catch the profile of the crack and see the resin going in. So now I'm looking around on each one of these cracks to see if it's filling. And I can see that some of them are halfway filled. So I'm going to pull another vacuum.
Let's wait for just a second. He's got a vehicle he needs to pull in for.
And we want to check the cracks again from the side. If you just let the tool sit for 5 minutes, it would fill up all those little cracks. But I want to show you a technique for when you have a stubborn leg, because often you will get a leg, which is these little cracks, that is being stubborn and not filling. And what we do is called flexing. And there's two ways to flex. There's flexing manually with a probe, like this. So you see this leg right here. I'm going to press down on it near the cylinder. And I'm going to hold that pressure, and you will watch from the profile of the crack, and you will see the resin flowing to the tip. And then you let go, and you'll see it went all the way to the tip. What happened there, technically, is, like I said, glass breaks on the opposite side of impact, and this is a surfaced, unsurfaced break. So the crack is like this, and when you press on it and flex it, it went like that and opened. And then the resin went up, and then when you closed it and let go, because the resin is under pressure, it couldn't go backward, it had to go forward and scoots to the tip, flexing the brake. Just like this tool, when you go like this, that puts downward pressure and flexes open the crack. So we just manually flexed with our probe by pressing on the crack and then watching the resin go into the crack. And this is also how you can check your cracks. When you can't tell whether they're filled or not, you press on them and flex them, and that'll tell you whether they've been filled or not. Now, another tool that is used to flex open brakes is the star leg flexor. And this one will do the flexing for you, because sometimes a leg is not going to fill just by pressing it, or you're having to hold the thing for a long time and your thumb gets sore. For you, you line it up, and then you slide it over. It's a little bit adjustable. You slide it over to the leg, and then you turn your bolt, and this does the same thing that we just did with our hand, and that's called the star leg flexor. That comes in your kit. Just like that, you can see the resin went to the tip. Now I can move it over to another crack and flex that leg open. And again, look at the profile of the leg to see if it's filling. Sometimes you can let these sit on brakes that are really stubborn, where you get what's called a star burst, where you have many cracks. And this tool will allow you to get all those cracks. Sometimes there can be 20 of them without having to do any more drilling. To increase your pressure, you just turn this bolt. It's good to use the mirror, because you can watch in the mirror to catch your angles too. And you see I just let go of it, and I can see that the resin scooted up towards the tip. And it's almost completely filled, so I'm going to flex it one more time. Again, this is a combination brake with extended legs. You'll see these, maybe 10% of your brakes will be combination brakes with extended legs, and these are the more severe brakes that you're going to get. Most of your brakes are going to be done with our tool in less than 60 seconds. Practicing here, we're giving you the most severe brakes that you will come across by making bad brakes with this spring-loaded center punch. Okay, now I'm going to let go, and there the leg is filled. So now I see that there's 7 extended legs on this combination brake, and now they're all filled. So now I'm going to remove my tool, my star leg flexor, and I'm going to cure under pressure. So we take our curing light, leaving the tool under pressure, and place it against the cylinder. Curing under pressure. The reason you cure under pressure is UV curing acrylics, which is what the repair industry uses, are low viscosity, and they shrink when they cure up. And so when you have 2 substrates and the resin is attracted to one of the substrates more than the other one, which in this case it's the glass it's attracted to and not the PVB, if there is any shrinkage, it will pull off the other substrate, which in this case is going to be the PVB. So if you do not cure under pressure, the resin is going to pull off the PVB upon curing, and you're going to have a void between the resin and the PVB, and this will ruin the appearance of the repair. To get a bond to the PVB, you have to get what's called a mechanical bond, And we do that by force, by keeping the resin under pressure. When we cure, we compensate for the shrinkage and force a mechanical bond onto the PVB. Most resins on the market do not have a chemical bond to the PVB. A chemical bond is when the molecules of the substrate cross-link with the molecules of the resin. In this case, that happens with the glass, but not the PVB. We do have other chemicals that bond to the PVB. They'll be on the market soon. But for now, we get a bond to the PVB by curing under pressure and also to compensate for shrinkage. Shrinkage will also make sure that your repair is more flexible, meaning it can expand and contract better from thermal stress if you cure it under pressure. If you pull a tool off and didn't cure it under pressure, then because of the shrinkage, the molecules will be cross-linked like that. So you'll have residual stress within your cured resin. And then those cross-links can snap from heat or cold, and your repair will not last as long. By curing it under pressure, you have more molecules cross-linked, and it can go like this and expand and contract with temperature change. So those are the reasons you always cure under pressure. We cure for 2 minutes with our light. It's better to have a 2-minute cure than a 10-second cure. A 10-second cure can leave some molecules stranded. Okay, so it's been about 2 minutes, I believe. And now we are going to pull off our tool. When you remove your tool, you want to back off the pressure so the resin doesn't spill. So you want to loosen your leveling bolt and your cylinder. Once you feel it's kind of loose, then you want to give this about a half a turn so to put it into a vacuum, and then turn your tool over, and you're ready to go for your next repair. This is one of the most convenient things about the Ultrabond Crackmaster tool is it's like a semi-automatic gun. You load it up and you can do one repair after another without ever having to break down, take your tool apart, or get your resin out. So it's very convenient. You can go one after another. So now we want to pit fill. I can see that there's a little bit of cured resin around this lip right here, so I'll remove that with a section with my razor blade. I'll put a drop of our crack resins. Any of our crack resins can be used as a pit fill, or even if a small hole, you can use the same resin you repaired with. And then you want to cure this for 1 minute. We give you long UV lights for doing both chips and cracks. This one is about 18 inches long and cures about 15 inches at a time. Our other smaller lights will do about 12 inches long and do about 12 inches at a time. Okay, after about 60 seconds, you can, this will keep the pit smooth and level with the glass. Now the repair is finished. You always wipe any resin or Vaseline off the glass with a dry rag before you wash it or spray it with the glass cleaner. And that is the repair of a combination brake with extended legs. Again, it is the most severe stone brake that you will encounter. But we wanted to make a severe brake on this training tape just to show you all the techniques to fill a brake when it's a difficult repair. About 70% of your repairs are going to be done in 60 seconds, but that one there was the most difficult. To make different brakes, you can alter the angle of this tool. You can lower the spring, and you can, instead of going head on, you can hold it like this to make a different type of a brake. Again, this is for practicing and training yourself. So I'm going to make my little pilot hole. I'm going to back off the spring. I'm going to hold it at an angle. And now, well, we got to a much more severe brake called a combination brake with lots of extended legs. And again, practicing and training yourself on the most difficult brakes is going to make it real easy for you out in the field. And that concludes our training tape on the repair of chips, on how to train and drill and practice yourself.